We will cross now to Afghan journalist Bilal Sarwary in Kabul. Bilal, the Afghan government's next major challenge now is perhaps to prevent the Taliban from capturing Mazar-e-Sharif. What is the latest on the militant group's push for that city, and why is that city so important?
I was speaking to an Afghan Special Forces commander who's been fighting against the Taliban in the district of Dadi, just outside of the city of Mazar-e-Sharif, for days now. He said that the Taliban have been firing with mortars, they've got more snipers, and he was slightly surprised that despite so many airstrikes, the Taliban kept coming back, attacking, that they had more and more fighters. Now, that's a very worrying development because the front line is just outside of the 209 Shaheen Corps that is supposed to be providing security for northern Afghanistan. So the fact that Taliban are so close trying to breach into the city of Mazar-e-Sharif is a worrying sign because it's a city on the border with Uzbekistan. It's a major hub. It's the biggest city in northern Afghanistan with a history of fighting against the Taliban, both in the 1990s as well as over the last 20 years. For our viewers, it will be important to know that in the 1990s, there were a few massacres that took place on the streets of the city when the Taliban and the former Northern Alliance fighters were fighting against each other, especially from the ethnic Hazara minority groups. So there are, very legitimate fears among the residents of the city. People have invested millions of dollars, in businesses there. And Mazar used to be a very, positive example of how life was flourishing over the last 20 years, and now it has come to this.
Okay, and Bilal, you evoked there in that first response the surprise of Afghan forces given this Taliban advance. I think a question on a lot of people's minds on that topic is the U.S. has been in Afghanistan for some 20 years. They have spent $1 trillion there, including on training and preparing Afghan troops for that withdrawal. Why has that not prevented the situation that we've seen play out over the past couple of weeks?
Well, first of all, there are some Afghan reasons. The political Kabul, was always divided. The bickering, the constant changes in the Afghan national security leadership by the Afghan government, so it had a very bad impact on the low morale of the soldiers. These Afghan soldiers have been, very, very tired. They've been fighting for years. Some of them have not been able to go back home in 9 months' time. Their food has been stolen. There has been the issues of corruption. But to put it in the context of the American withdrawal, the Americans, spoke to the Taliban in Doha in an exit deal between them and the Taliban, where the Afghan government was forced to release 6,000 Taliban leaders and commanders from jails. When these former Taliban detainees went back to villages and districts, they went after Afghans. They basically started taking revenge. The Taliban had an international stage, they had more legitimacy. They started approaching people that if you don't fight with us and you surrender with us, we will not harm you. And more importantly, the American airstrikes decreased and it stopped. It wasn't just the airstrikes. The Americans were dropping food, water, they were evacuating the wounded because Afghanistan's national security forces are stationed across the country in some of the most remote and difficult terrains.